Good afternoon. We have a special...
Bull shark, porcupine, I don't know what. Doing this podcast is a pain in the...
What was that?
Oh my god!
What the
Is that an, is that an alien?
Are we on the podcast? I'm gonna take over the podcast. Podcast
No,
takeover.
please don't.
Just
take
take...
over the podcast.
No! Take our cheese, please, and leave us!
Get the
Just
fuck
leave
out
us
of you
alone.
fucking alien! Hey
Gert,
everybody.
you saved us.
Yeah, sorry about that. There was like this fucked up thing just sitting in my chair. I don't know what it was. I mean, I said alien. That might have been assuming a lot. But no, wait, what the fuck is that? Is that a fucking demon?
Oh no!
I'm gonna take your podcast over. There's not gonna be anything left. There's not gonna be
No.
anything but me, the devil.
Why? Why does this always
No,
happen
you
to
fucking
us?
devil! Ah! Oh!
Oh, fuck. Shit.
Yeah, crawl back in your little demon hole that you crawled in here in, you fucking demon.
Hey everybody, welcome to My Chapters podcast.
This is the spooky episode where things go bump in the night.
Ooh.
As
yes.
you can tell, I've found a novelty for this episode.
Does Audacity even pick up on that?
Oh yeah, it does. I just had to like change the thing, the fucking microphone source or whatever.
Perfect.
Totally.
Perfect
could-
for Halloween.
We could record every episode.
Like this.
Please, let's not.
Yeah, I mean, Frankenstein is fun.
But I think just, normal. Wow.
So everybody, today is a very, very special episode because it's the month of scares and creaks and shrieks and all that fun stuff.
And freaks and cucks and all
Hey.
sorts and boogers and warts and goblins and haints.
Let's cut one of those out, huh? But
We're
yeah.
not cutting that. Yeah, let's cut out a wart. I don't think people understand what a wart is. I mean, that's a little too... It might get haint, but...
And anyway, welcome to My Gym Partners a podcast, where we cover the most horrifying show to ever grace Cartoon Network. My Gym Partner's a monkey.
Oh, it's so scary because in this particular episode, we get invaded by something from another world.
So, for those of you out of the loop, or maybe either you didn't watch Cartoon Network back in the day, or maybe you're a baby and you didn't know about this, but
Yeah.
a long time ago, there was something called Cartoon Network Invaded. Now, Renee, I believe you did a little bit of research behind this. Will you mind explaining to our younger audience what Cartoon Network Invaded was?
Right. So Cartoon Network Invaded was a 5-chapter saga of just 5 different shows on the Cartoon Network banded together in a fit of teamwork to do 5 separate chapters in a saga that was totally interconnected called Cartoon Network Invaded. You had...
It totally was. There's no disputing it. It was interconnected.
But okay, there were 5 episodes of like where the theme was like these aliens with this very specific design were invading, and they were asking for cheese. They were all like searching for cheese and wanting that. And some episodes they were just not related at all, like the Fosters episode, which was the first one, had nothing to do with it really.
Well, I mean, they found cheese, I'm sure. Cheese, the character, that is. Oh, how funny that I mean, like, I I remember at the time being really excited for this kind of thing because, like, isn't it exciting when you're younger to see cartoons that you love start, like, interacting with one another?
I
I
sure
love
do.
Jimmy Timmy Power Hour, if that's what you mean.
No.
Yeah,
Then
Jimmy
yes.
Timmy
No.
Power Hour is a really good example of
Hey,
this
hey, can you
because-
stop? Can you stop? We're not,
But I
we're
just
not
wanted
tak-
to talk about.
we're not taking this joke any farther.
I've been John Tron silenced by Renee.
God damn it.
So sorry. What was next? What was after Foster's?
So after Foster's was the episode of Ed, Ed, and Eddie. It was the third...
Best one
Yeah,
by far. Just gonna say it. Like,
they really heavily leaned into the alien aspect of it. They had a lot of fun with that one. And then the episode we bring you to here today, the My Gym Partner's a Monkey episode, That Darn Platypus. And then, of course, there was Camp Lazlo, which had, like, instead of, like, just the one episode, they had, like, a 2-episode double feature thing. Like, it wasn't, like, one big special. It was 2 episodes. And then you had, like, the Billy and Mandy episode, which was the grand finale. That was, like, everything. Like, it was supposed to tie all of the episodes together in one big thing. And it's funny because we have a quote from the creator, Maxwell Adams, on this, where I'm gonna read a good amount of this. So someone asked on Tumblr, on his Tumblr, thankfully, hey Maxwell, remember Cartoon Network invaded back in 2007? How was it like connecting your show with other shows during an alien invasion event phenomenon? And so it's very funny, the response here. Basically,
this is the Billy and Mandy creator, right?
yes.
Okay, just wanted to get that out of the way.
Basically, Cartoon Network came to, like, all these shows, like, just, like, out of the blue, like, saying, like, hey, can you all, like, do one specific sci-fi episode that, like, involving our, like, invaded stuff? We got, like, a sponsorship. Apparently, and this comes from Maxwell Adams, so, like, it's not, like, a confirmed thing, it could be, like, conjecture, but apparently they had a Kraft cheese sponsorship, and that's why all the aliens
Really?
were after cheese. But
I God, Kraft singles. That feels so appropriate.
But the funny thing is, they, like, you don't see any Kraft advertisement in any of the episodes or anything at the time, so they just must have pulled out at the time, presumably because they saw the last Billy and Mandy episode and they saw how disgusting they presented the cheese in that episode. like that, none of that information is confirmed. It's kind of just a lot of, like, rumor, but it makes a lot of sense because, like, I remember watching that Billy and Mandy episode and saw all that cheese, and I was just, that looks unappetizing. It just looks very disgusting.
As most foodstuffs in Billy and Mandy are presented, I can imagine, because usually that show doesn't really go for a Steven Universe pretty aesthetic. It tries to make
No.
things look like grime and gris.
But all these, like, shows got together, and they, we got from 2 sources that they weren't exactly thrilled about this, like, having to divert from their focus on their shows and their plot lines going on, or just, like, their general aesthetic, to do this random, like, alien episode that's interconnected with other shows. As Craig McCracken put it on Twitter, yeah, that was something that CN asked us to do, and I don't think most of us were that psyched about doing it. So
I just, like, that's probably true, especially because, like, imagine you're writing your funny, like, for example, Foster's Home. You're writing your funny Foster's Home, and it's just a funny kind of like, it's got, you know, a realm of imagination with imaginary friends and stuff, but it never goes like supernatural too much.
It tells
and then
you
all
to
of a sudden
put a fucking alien in it.
Cartoon Network comes up to you and they're like, hey, what if you put an alien in it and like made it connected to all these other worlds? Like, why don't you just do that? Why don't you just spend precious episode resources doing this?
And
Even
also to
more
sell
so-
Kraft cheese.
Even more so for Ed and God, Kraft cheese.
Yeah, I mean,
That
Ed and
really
Eddie's
makes
just
it-
about a bunch of kids in the cul-de-sac. Like it's
I think Edda and Eddie, out of all of them, like, they did it very well, because like it opens up with like fucking Jimmy having like this really scary dream where like he's fucking like having like a picnic with Sarah, and these big like claws start ripping the earth apart, and he's like, Sarah!
It's
And
that
then
honestly.
she like falls into a crack in the earth or something. It's like fucked up.
That honestly, that felt like, even though the Billy and Mandy like special was like supposed to be the grand finale, the Ed and Eddie special felt like the big like budgetary one that like was like very beautiful and like well animated and just had a lot of spectacle to it. But we're not talking about spectacle. We're not talking about, you know,
God, I want to
beautiful
talk
animation.
about the where I want to talk about Ed and Eddie.
Oh, by the way, we'll put that that Tumblr post by the Billy and Mandy guy in the description, so you can take a look at that. It's pretty funny.
It's pretty funny, but no, we're going for cheapness, repeated jokes, and Gilbert Gottfried. Welcome
Yep,
to
that's
That
right.
Darn
Half
Platypus.
black.
I love Gilbert Gottfried. I think
Don't say
he's-
that.
He sure is a fucking Affleck. If I ever,
I mean, I'll be honest, like, you know, he's made his career out of that one voice, so like, you know, that's pretty cool, right? I
Nobody's
wish I
ever
could do
done
that.
nobody's ever done a fucked up voice before in anything, so it's like really inspiring when I see Gilbert Gottfried out here, like going like, "Ow ho ho! I'm Santa Claus," and Billy and Mandy, and like seeing him be this little platypus.
So, the very odd way that our special starts is Mr. Mandrill is up on a ladder putting like little letters on the marquee in front of the school. And Mr. Principal Pixie Frog is like supervising this, and he's like, "Come on, Maurice, like hurry it up, put up that sign, and then we can have pie." Whatever. the hell.
Hey,
we can
he
have
also
a nice
talks
treat.
about Maurice's fear of heights, like, "Oh, you've gotten over your fear of heights, right?" And he's like, yeah," like looking at the ground with vertigo.
Why would you mention that, Principal Pixie Frog, while he's doing it? Well, but before we get a little like too far into this, I just want to mention we did watch the CN Invaded intro, because they create a special little intro for each episode, and it has like this very green aesthetic, very green, very
It's very grungy, like technical, like VHS aesthetic, which is like, you know,
it's like this industrial music playing kinda.
It's funny, like how they play up, like how, like, oh, you're watching something that you shouldn't see. This is like found footage. This is something scary. This is real
exactly
horror.
it.
But I think only the Ed and Eddie one really came close to being truly horrifying.
And then at the very end, it was just Rolf's family.
Sorry to spoil that one for you, folks.
Yeah, sorry everybody. I mean, like, Edda and Eddie's. Maybe put in an Edda and Eddie spoilers right there
Countdown?
before I say, yeah, like, yeah. Let's put an Edda and Eddie spoilers countdown towards the end. Take that idea from our cartoon boyfriends. Good podcast.
So the sign says, and I forget what it says. It's like, "Welcome special species students," like exchanged. I don't know, something like that. But something crashes behind the school, and
Yeah. No.
Well, it
It's
says "Welcome aliens." It gets
Well, oh, that's right. That happens first. So, like, the sign gets knocked a bit, and some letters fall out, and it says "Welcome Space Aliens" or something like that instead. And then something crashes behind the school.
yeah, something.
uh, Principal Pixie Frog checks the sign and he's like, "Does that say welcome special species and whatever?" And Maurice tells him, obviously not wanting to go back up there, just says, "If I say it does, can we just get pie?" So they do. Principal Pixie Frog had some bad eyesight.
Yeah, he needs to get some new glasses.
And like he's so little too. Like, do you think that has everything would be further away if you were so small? It would be more inconvenient to have like bad eyesight if you're a little bitty frog, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. What is like
Maybe
if you study to become like an eye doctor, do you also have to like study animal eyes now? Or is there a specific place for that?
I mean, I guess like vets would handle that.
imagine
true.
making teeny tiny glasses for a little bitty frog man.
I want to do that.
You know,
Sounds fun.
you know someone who could do that.
That's right, I do.
Shout out to
wink.
optometrists out there.
But anyway, then something crashes like behind the school and it glows ominously. Ooh, could something have heeded the call? The call of Cthulhu? No, it's aliens. But
Yeah,
It's just
imagine if they, imagine if my gym partner's a monkey had the Cthulhu episode, like Billy and Mandy did. Like Cthulhu comes to the school and he's just like, "Hey everybody," and they're like, "Wow, a squid boy." And Adam's like, "Oh my gosh, I've read H.P. Lovecraft, all of his work. That's Cthulhu, Jake. What do you mean?" And then like Jake's like eyes fuse together into like a single eye because he's like,
and then Jake's nose opens up into like a big cuttlefish nose, and then a bunch of little Jakes start flying out, and then Adam starts doing crank calls, and we're getting off track.
Kelly Clarkson. They mentioned Kelly Clarkson by name. Ah,
It's
so
the
fucking
next
funny.
day. The next day, Miss Tusk is yelling at a student for throwing a frisbee, and it was a funny UFO gag. And then Mr. Manchel and Principal Pixie Frog are eating a bunch of bug and mud pies because there was a big power outage, and you can't let all this food go to waste because the freezer doesn't work, so it would have just gone bad anyway.
Yeah, the mud went bad.
Somehow.
The bugs
So-
would have gotten stale. But
Then we get another cut here, and I will mention this now so I don't have to keep mentioning it. I don't know what it is about these longer episodes where every time there's like a cut, it feels like we've had like 10 seconds and then there's a cut like almost every single one of these like double length feature ones. Feels like there's so many transitions for some reason. I don't know if it's just me.
Perhaps they feel like since it's one episode, they can like truly like expand the scope of where the episode is able to like lead us. So they take us everywhere. They take us on like a trip because they can just keep changing locations. They can just keep taking us places.
Later on, they like cut away. Do the whole like bongo, leaves come in the front, go away, and they're in like the same place. Just something different is happening.
Oh, jeez. Well,
But I like this moment here where Adam and Jake are like just casually talking. Adam's asking Jake, "Hey, so did the zoo lose power too?" Yeah, man. Like, oh, it's weird. But then
still
Jake,
out.
But then Jake has to bring it to aliens. I gotta say, I do like the moments where Adam and Jake just talk regularly.
Yeah,
uninterrupted.
Like friends.
yeah, like this fucking part where they're just like walking to school, and it's like, "Power go out in the zoo last night?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's still out." It's like fucking it. It's like it dialogue. It's just casual it dialogue. It's like Stephen King. Just
Not
like
what it is.
humans talking. Well, human and monkey talking their casual lives, and something malevolent happens in the background of rural America.
So Jake thinks it's aliens.
Yeah. Anyway,
but-
it's aliens.
But the thing is, Adam's trying to deny it. He's like, well, I mean, it's just a power outage. Like, it'll be back. It's not that big of a deal. But then it's like, what about the cars? The cars aren't working either. And then it pans out, or zooms out, I'm sorry. And they're all like walking, like the rest of the students are walking in a school bus formation, but there's like no school bus there, and they're on the road.
We also
and then
get
you
to see the school bus driver, who is a pig.
Yeah.
Oh.
At first, I'm gonna like show my ignorance here. At first, I thought it was just like another like random pig, like aside from them, just driving, and it's like, is that like a pig officer? Is this a visual gag? But no, it wasn't. It's just a school bus driver.
That would have been funny.
That would have been funny, because, you know, cops are filthy pigs. Filthy, dirty
Yeah,
cops. Anyway.
But Windsor is inclined to agree with Jake, stating that when aliens do come, all machines will be deactivated as per the invasion, and he presents the Weekly World Snooze as a source, and we have there a nice little reference to Ed, and Eddie, cul-de-sac stolen by aliens. So I guess they're in the same universe.
Yeah.
Really?
Somehow.
Ed and Eddie, there's like a quiet little cul-de-sac, and the animals roam beyond beyond the picket white fences. There be monsters, they say.
I was just gonna say, do you think Wilfred is aware? Is he sapient? Does Wilfred the pig?
Oh, Wilfred! Sorry, it took me a while.
Just presenting that as a thought for all you theorists out there.
I when I look at Wilfred's eyes, I see intellect, especially when like Ed like steals him and like, you know, sort of sets him up in these little scenarios. Like they have like tea with him, I think, at one point, and there seems like there's something going on there.
Slips.
Slips.
Slips seems in on the theory. They get to school and there's just a bunch of banana peels everywhere, and they're all tripping up, and everyone in the school is tripping up. Slips tries to talk about aliens. He says they suck your brains out, but Adam is again just like, what the hell are you talking about?
He also links them to the cause of the banana peels, because as Slip says it, aliens are comedy aficionados. They just like to like cause like havoc and wanton shenanigans.
Gags.
They're troublesome. These creatures. They trick us all the time. I wanted to ask y'all earlier before we started, but do y'all have a favorite alien? A favorite cryptid like that's thought to be an alien or something of the sort?
Well, I like the Flatwoods monster. I don't know if that counts.
That's
that
a good
is one. That is an alien.
Inspired
really,
the
really
Majora's
like that
Mask
one.
aliens.
Yes, that's why I really like them a lot.
I watched a video about those. They're so scary.
Was gonna say that, but I do like the simple little Hopkinsville goblins. They're cute little buggers.
Fucking Billy Ray and all their cousin coming down up from Pittsburgh. It's just like, there's something in the sky. The devil is with us tonight, and you hear the sound. It's like whenever we shot at it, it sounded like it hit a bucket, and it's like probably because you shot out your windows. That might have been the sound. I love that story of the Hopkinsville Goblin. My favorite is the Fresco Nightcrawlers. Them little guys are so funny. They got long little legs and they move through the night. They're like...
I've watched a few videos about those guys, but they were mostly about like debunking them and like saying how they work.
Yeah, they're just walking pants.
Yeah, they're just walking pants. But like, also I really love the like idea of those little guys. Like, even if they are fake, it's such a joy to watch them glide through this weird grainy like video footage.
I mean, that's the thing though, is that's where it's what it's all about. It doesn't matter if they're real or not. It's about the emotion they give you, the feeling of unknown, the mystery, which is not what this episode gives us, because everyone starts panicking. Lupe flies in and she's like, they're here, the aliens, oh my god. Ingrid follows and she's like, oh god, everybody run. Everyone runs into the open locker except for Adam, who like stands outside, and then a dark looming shadow approaches. But
it's Darkwing Duck. It's Darkwing Duck.
Oh my god.
No, it's Gilbert Gottfried.
Oh.
It's not Darkwing Duck.
Oh.
It's Gilbert Gottfried, and he's like, hello.
I'm Gilbert Gottfried. I mean, I'm Rick Platypus, and I'm an alien. He laughs like that a lot in this episode.
Hey, is Cyber Chase still come on?
My god, Gert, can we talk about the episode?
I'm sorry, I just... Gilbert Gottfried's coming up, and the episode's just not that scary, and...
So Rick the Platypus is ugly as hell, and I hate him.
He's a very ugly creature.
I didn't think you could make an unappealing platypus until I saw Rick as a young child. And then I knew that bad character design was a thing. I'm sorry. I know the point of My Gym Partner's a Monkey is to have unappealing, like, gross out stuff. But there's some appealing character designs. Rick is not one of those.
Every one of his teeth is a different shape. He has disgusting popcorn hair. And his body... He's very asymmetrically shaped. Like he's very jagged and pointy. He's like a fucked up star. That's a description for anything.
Adam apologizes for his friends. He says, "Look, they're dramatic. I'm sorry. Don't worry about it." Well, in the locker, the gang are all just kind of clumped up together, and Slips is like, dude, look, he's got a freakishly large beak and fur. That's messed up, dude.
Those don't go together.
He corrects himself with "and fur," like after Lupe like just looks at him angrily.
Because she has a freakishly large beak. Yuck, 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 yuck. But here's where we get the kind of like meat, quote unquote, of the episode, where Adam and Rick start hanging out. Adam's trying to like get him comfortable. He's like, the school could be kind of hard for new kids. Like I understand, I'm with you. But Rick keeps making these really like weird jokes about drinking brain juice, and he's like doing it specifically, it seems, to get a rise out of everyone. Like when other students hear it when he's passing by, they all start screaming and running away. And then he just has a laugh about it. And
this episode is full of Adam just like hanging out with this like awkward little platypus, and there's just silence separated by hearty laughter.
It's funny.
It's pretty funny.
No, I'm sorry. Like you were complimenting this show. I was going to say it's funny that this is like the first 5 minutes, and we already have like the gist. We have the whole episode already, minus like the quick end, and it goes on for 17 more minutes.
Yeah, that's like we're barely in here. Yeah, this is a long one, and the thing about it is that this would be a little bit more tolerable. I think it's like kind of funny in a way, because it almost feels a bit like it's poking fun of itself, just like Adam continually like, okay, I get it, like I get the joke. But the thing is, Rick doesn't even like spice it up by saying different different creepy things, which would be funny if he said just like really weird things, like, and it was just constantly changing and something just weirder and more obscure. But he just keeps saying, I sure do love brain juice. Man, I love brain juice. Like sucking out brain juice. It doesn't mix it up. Where's the comedy, man? Like, what's going on?
But yeah, this episode is very repetitive. But I feel like it's very much so here, because that's kind of what they fall back on, like for like, odd like filling up time. And this episode feels like the most filling up time, because it's a whole special that they just got like the idea about like thrown on them, like, here.
It's like, hey, put alien and monkey show.
Somehow.
Okay. We were working on this other thing, but I guess, like, we could do that.
Adam goes to Rick, wow, Rick, you sure have an interesting delivery. And Rick goes, I love classic comedy. Like,
Uh-oh.
something
But
like that.
A
but
few of those
aliens
got
love
me.
comedy.
Yes, aliens do love gags. So they're in the lunchroom. And again, Rick is just like, I'll just have some brain juice, please, to Miss Tusk. He just does the same joke. And he starts laughing. And
It's a montage of different alien
no, but
stuff.
like this specific part, though, actually was funny.
Where it's
where Adam
awkward.
starts laughing with him, like, and starts getting just as into it, like but then like Rick stops and Adam like kind of just like peters off, and then as soon as Adam's like quiet for like a second or two, Rick starts up again.
God.
This episode, I will say though, it gets right back into the dissing Adam part, and Adam's like, back to his usual characterization of like well-meaning at first, but then slowly over time gets worn down into being just outright unreasonable.
Yeah, so there's this little montage where Rick is like, oh, I'm setting up this like satellite out in the front of the school to signal the overlords, and like the other kids like around scream, and then it cuts back again and he's like putting lights in the lawn, and he's like, this is where the mothership's gonna go, and then he's mowing a crop circle in the football field, and he mows Adam down.
They made a Flash minigame about that,
Did they now? How did that go?
Not about Adam getting run over by a lawnmower, but by, like, Rick Platypus putting flashlights on the field, and then Jake Spider Monkey has to, like, collect them.
So you have to stop him from, like, contacting the overlords?
Yeah.
See,
It's a Flash game.
wow.
Just thought I should mention it. You gotta be
Love
thorough.
Flash.
All this whole montage happens. Adam finally finds the pack still in his locker. Well, they're talking about like how we should get out like by now. Windsor needs to take a potty break. Someone already did. Wonder who.
Yeah, who did that?
Jake. Jake's
Oh.
fine.
Jake Spider
Who else would it be? You gotta have one.
They are all animals, so I could see them. Anyone.
I mean, they all pee on a rock
They all
for
pee
a
on-
holiday.
Yeah, that's true. So
It's funny though that Jake is usually the one they point to, that he's the most unsanitary.
because he has an exposed bottom.
Right. And I'm gonna say it here rather than not saying it at all. There's no butt jokes. Sorry, folks. If you were like waiting this long for it, sorry, no butt jokes this episode. I lied in the promo.
I can't
can all
believe
go
you
home.
did this.
Renee,
I know.
why would you
I'm
do
sorry.
this to our audience?
Look. I wanted some buzzwords for the promo. It was a cool promo, right? Right.
I thought you did a really good job.
Thanks.
You did well.
Well. Adam is not pleased that someone pissed in his locker, but also someone else is in his locker, and they cut the cheese. Who was it?
There's a cheese! Ding, 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 ding.
There's
We found
the
it.
cheese. Oh my god, craft singles possibilities. Grilled cheese on my plate. Got a grilled cheese on my plate.
This episode was brought to you by Craft Singles. They paid us to promote them. This is not a lie.
This isn't a lie. Craft Singles paid
This whole
us.
podcast has been a Craft Singles advertisement,
We've been
and you all
reeling-
fell for it.
We've been reeling you in. Please buy our disgusting little slices of cheese that are individually wrapped, or you could get the better ones. That's just a block that's cut. We won't tell you to get that one though.
Possibility.
Possibilities. 3 grilled cheese. Got a grilled cheese. Possibility. Kraft grilled cheese.
By the way, this is the only time cheese is mentioned in this episode.
Yes.
Whereas, like, in other episodes, they make it more of a central thing. Here, it's just a one-off thing.
Well, you know, Cartoon Network, they weren't specific enough. They should have been better. They should have tried harder if they wanted My Gym Partner's a Monkey to try and be consistent.
Adam Adam is confused about why Rick is in the locker. He's like, "How'd you get in there?" And he even though he's still like defending Rick from the others, he's like, "Listen, he's not an alien." But everyone else is like, "But he's into stupid gags. Like, you just said he's into stupid gags. Like, aliens love that. Don't you ever heed our warnings?" and Adam says something like, "No, I'm not gonna listen to you guys." And Slips just replies, "Snob."
Snob. He doesn't listen to them primarily for the reason that seems to be that they get their information from bubblegum wrappers and detergent bottles and whatnot.
Yeah.
They get their science from that. They make the Uranus joke yet? There was a butt joke.
No.
Renee. You were right.
That was
That's
way later. Yeah, we got a lot to get.
It's a lot of padding.
Did I spoil something for you? Were you gonna do something like I did? Never mind. Was there gonna be like a Renee recovered from that big
embarrassment? Let's be frank.
Yeah, that big embarrassment. God. This
Principal
one,
Pixie
huh?
Frog comes in. Principal Pixie Frog comes in, and he's like, "Come on, you can't call these people an alien all the time. We got this place is crawling with weirdos." And Q and Dickie Sugar Jumper, who's like, "Hello, Gov, top of the morning, chip cheerio." And then Principal Pixie Frog, maybe I should check to make sure you're all not aliens.
There are a lot of weirdos here.
I love when he finally gets over to that, gets around to that, when he's checking the files.
So Ingrid says, I guess Principal Pixie Frog might be right. I mean, I have a crush on a human, and I speak aloud. And then Windsor pulls out Teddy the puppet, and they're all like, I guess we're all great, even though we're different. And they have this really touching hug, and I actually went "Aw" out loud too.
Yeah, it was very sweet how they all decided to, embrace and have a nice tender moment. I like the part where Ingrid said, or after Ingrid says her little piece about herself, Lupe says, "Yes, everything you said about yourself is true."
Yes, that is correct. Great line.
Great line. Oh,
But
so classic.
But then Rick, does his bit about, but I'm different because I like brain juice, and they all scream and run away. And Adam's like, listen, this gag is getting old. The bit, it's gone on too long. Please stop.
I think that Adam may be the viewer, us in this case. I feel very perhaps even the studio, they know that this isn't a joke that could go on this long. They're working with it for as long as they can.
Yet it does go on. Miss Warthog's been performing background checks. Apparently Adam Lyon's record is clean, but
It's
boy
a
oh boy
read.
is it a read.
I mean, I'm just guessing that all the chronicles of the show has been jotted down in that record in some way or form, so I bet it is a read.
Everything in there is just a summary of each episode.
Although Dickie, on the other hand, Principal Pixie Frog seems really worried about Dickie because he's a sugar jumper, and he's never heard of a sugar jumper, just a sugar glider. And that's something I've overlooked. I don't think there is such a thing as a sugar jumper. Hold on, let me check it out. Quick animal facts corner with Renee.
Animal Facts Corner with Renee!
Well, Well, here's the fact. I can't find shit on it.
What do you mean?
Let me try.
The-
I know
the-
we don't do
I-
these.
I can-
Animal facts with Kurt.
Let's see. So sugar jumper.
No, I've only found Sugar Glider and Dicky Sugar Jumper.
Well, yeah, a sugar glider seems to be the thing.
Do you think that maybe the people behind the show made Dicky Sugar Jumper and they're like, yeah, Sugar Jumper's a thing. It looks like that. And then like if like a season later somebody came up to them was like, hey, I don't think Sugar Jumper's a real thing. I think we might have made that one up. Like, do you think?
They definitely made it up, and they're glossing over it by just calling him a freak weirdo that nobody knows what's going on. Apparently, his record is icky, labeled icky, and he's a quote, a creep.
Well, I agree.
He is a Ricky Gervais-esque comedian.
I'm Ricky Gervais. That's the best I can do.
Shut up, Adam, you idiot. Head like an orange. Ah!
I'm Ricky Gervais. I was on The Office. He was on The Office, right? Like the British original. I don't fucking know what his deal is. He hosted an award show.
So they got that information, but they don't have Rick Platypus on the database. Apparently,
Ricky Gervais.
no,
Platypus.
they don't have Ricky Gervais Platypus. Neither do they have Gilbert Godfrey. Neither do they have Rick Platypus on the database. But they're
What is this all leading up to?
Principal Pixie Frog starts panicking, but no, don't worry. It's just because the power's been out that Miss Warthog can't access the database, and
Can't
also
play
she
computer solitaire.
which is really making her edgy.
So Adam just randomly peeks his head into like the AV room, I guess, and there's like this creepy staticky video playing, and like there's UFO imagery, and then all the imagery of like the crop circle in the football field, and occasionally interspersed with like Rick laughing, and Adam's like clutching his head, and he's like, ah!
like he's like covering his ears, like shaking. It looks like he's like in pain.
He's being psychically attacked by this platypus, and it does this weird little fade out because I'm assuming this was the commercial break for the episode, but it makes
Yes.
it just seem like it makes it seem like, I don't know, like that's the end or something. Like it was doing like a fade and like Adam like blacks out. That's like kind of what I was getting from it.
So like the episode fades out. So shall we? Let's take a quick break.
Next time on My Gym Partners, a podcast.
How would you feel if I just randomly, out of nowhere, started posting like really in-depth knowledge about Bunsen as a beast?
I think I would think that your account got hacked. That it was a cry for help.
We got any Bunsen is a Beast stands in the audience? Who do you stand from Bunsen is a Beast?
Renee, I'm gonna be frank with you.
Yeah.
I don't think I could name one character aside from Bunsen from that show. I don't know if they're like, what's the name of the boy even? I have no idea.
You know, it's funny, I don't know.
You don't know what the name of the main character from Bunsen as a Beast is?
You see, I've developed a lot of theories about Bunsen as a Beast from only hearing about the title. So I think
Okay,
I got
let me hear.
So I think Bunsen is like a real party animal, right? Like, not only is he like a literal beast, but he's also like a party beast. Like, yeah, he can like, you know, chug some kegers, you know what I mean? Like, you know, rip some fat stogies, you know?
Yeah, the famously not Christian creator Butch Hartman would really make one of his beloved characters make him a real party animal, you know, just doing doing the weed, doing the everything.
Well, I think it's like, you know, a philosophical exploration there, like, you know, like what is monster to man and what is man to monster, because I think the boy from Bunsen in a Beast is like a proud Christian, but like Bunsen, like, you know, tries to get him on the wild side, and like, you know,
Is Bunsen temptation to sin? Is that what you're trying to say?
Bunsen, you know, doesn't that sound familiar? Rearrange the letters, add some letters, take away some letters. What do you get? Beelzebub, Satan, the Lord of Darkness himself.
Who's the Lord of Darkness himself?
Bunsen
Bunsen
is a beast!
And now, back to the show.
We left like the AV room because Adam is just like, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of this fucking joke. You're not an alien. You're not an alien. You're not. And he stuffs Rick in his little bitty backpack, and he's just like, ah! And
It's like wriggling around in there.
he just kind of like, he just leaves with him. He just takes him off. And then we go over to another scene of Principal Pixie Frog and Mrs. Warthog, and they're just kind of like hanging out, right?
He's
And,
braiding her ear hair.
Yeah, he's braiding her ear hair, and she's playing a nice game of solitaire, and I believe she loses, and she's like, "Oh, this is terrible."
Yeah,
She's very
like,
mad at it.
Well, what is it, Mrs. Warthog? You seem tense.
See, the expectation is that the plot would be moving, but no. It's just that Miss Warthog is losing at solitaire instead of discovering what Rick really is. And we cut back to, like, just Adam, like, carrying Rick. Mr. Mandrill, like, pops out of his office, like, when Adam's, like, trying to take him there because he thinks he needs some help. But Mr. Mandrill's just yelling, like, running out, "They're here! They're here! They're here!"
And I'm pretty sure in this instance, Adam and Rick get knocked into a river. They get knocked into a river and they fall down the waterfall.
They're like fighting, and like Rick is like mad at Adam because Adam keeps trying to put him in his backpack. And he like bites Adam's head, and they just start like tumbling around, and the gang is watching, and they're like, Jake is like, "Oh, Adam never wants to wrestle with me."
Wrestling,
He's jealous.
It's so sad that they never get to wrestle, because that shows a true friendship when you're able to, like, you know, participate in combat, joyous combat.
I never wrestled.
We're gonna have to wrestle one day, Renee.
I hope so. You stopped us from wrestling that one time, Lucy. How dare you?
Listen.
On Renee's one time in this mortal world, and you don't let Renee wrestle.
We've talked about this, I think, also on the show. Your apartment is too small for wrestling, Gert. We couldn't have done it.
It's not too small. We have a living room.
The living room is minuscule.
Well, we just gotta be careful then. If you keep going through life thinking, "Oh, I want to wrestle, but there's just nowhere to do it," you're never gonna find a place to wrestle. Never, ever. If you're always waiting for a wrestling ring, there ain't gonna be a wrestling ring all the time, Lucy.
I'll wrestle one day. Don't you worry, folks at home. But
Yeah, don't worry. We'll have our very own My Gym Partners a Podcast Rumble.
That would be really funny.
anyway, Rick is drowning.
Yeah, he's drowning, and Adam's just kind of letting it happen, because he's just like, "Oh, haha, you're a platypus. Yeah, you're drowning, fucking moron. That's not gonna trick me." And then he just
He just sits and smiles.
He sinks, and he sits and smiles, and Rick, with this like horrid expression on his face, sinks into the water. And then we get,
"Oh my god, I can't swim, Adam,
and then it just transitions to the next scene, completely independent from what was happening there.
So while they were like having their wrestle, I forgot to mention that like the
substance or vexes me. It was also a thing that Rick said.
Yes, the pack is like, we need to help Adam out in this situation. We know someone who can help, and so this is the scene that follows that, where they walk in on the Spiffies playing, presumably, Dungeons and Dragons, but it's not really. It's like a made up clone, I suppose.
Yeah, they have like a little bitty like catapult thing. It smashes a rock into the squid one's like tank face.
His name is Daniel. We learned that.
No. Who cares? I must be frank.
Thought you were Gert.
Oh. Boom, 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 boom.
I see you figured it out.
Oh no, it's Frank the robot.
That's right.
Oh no. Can't do it again. That bit's all worn out.
Windsor cuts to the chase, like, we don't care about your fantasy world. We just want your particle, disintegration cannon.
Yeah, this is the real world. Hand over your laser weapon.
Which is also pretty funny.
Yeah.
But the Spiffies are like, we don't believe you, because we would have known if there was aliens. But then they see a banana, like, fall from the sky, and they're like, oh, aliens are real. So they tear off their, like, geek outfits, and they're wearing even geekier outfits. They're wearing, like, Star Trek-esque outfits, and they're like, zoom, zoom, or something like, I forgot what
zoom, zoom, zibby, zoom. They go zoom, zoom. It's Star Trek. They're wearing the little vests. Oh my god. They're able to get the pack just kind of ignores it. And they get the fucking laser gun. And then we go on. We go back.
It's not even like a laser gun. It's like a weird... We've seen something... Remember that one episode where the main Spiffy, I forget his name.
Yeah,
Phineas.
Phineas. He, like, is in that weird, like, robo suit, sort of. It's like he's like a big trash can with, like, a glass dome.
I think it was that. It was definitely
very
that
similar.
thing.
I think that just has, like, a particle can. I think that was even established in the science fair episode, that it had that, like, particle cannon.
God. So, continuity? Question mark? Because I guess it's
this episode likes its continuity for some reason, bringing back like Teddy, bringing back the Spiffies again, because we haven't seen them for a little bit, too long.
Well, to go back to like what the creator of like Billy and Mandy said about Cartoon Network, just kind of like putting this idea on them. They have a lot of pre-established material already, so I assume that was just easier to write for. Like, they could just throw it in there. It's like, the fucking wish fish. Let's put the wish fish back in.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so here's what happens next. This is wild. Okay, so first we get a quick cut to Principal Pixie Frog and Miss Warthog, and there's Miss Warthog still playing solitaire, and Principal Pixie Frog is now curling her ear hair. But Mr. Mandrill bursts in. They're here, he says, but he just means that the new phone books are here.
I'm somebody now.
Yeah, his name is in the phone book next to, like, a lot of other Mr. Mandrills that apparently exist.
I was thinking about, like, I didn't quite think about this. Mr. Mandrill, I was like, oh yeah, I guess that is, like, kind of a common name. No, it's not. Where did I get that feeling when I saw that? When I saw, like, that page full of Mr. Mandrills, I was like, huh. Maurice Mandrill. Yep.
It's a common name.
Common name right there.
That doesn't need to be joked on or questioned. They like quickly disregard that. That was just like for like a quick little thing. Comical misdirection. And so he also like half-assedly, like in passing mention, just says, "Oh yeah, database doesn't have any record on Rick Platypus, so I guess he must be an alien or something." Toodles.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Principal Pixie Frog is worried, but Miss Warthog's like, I'm going to take a picture of that alien kid and sell it to the tabloids and make a lot of money. But then we cut back. And bear in mind, we've now been through the Spiffies scene, which goes on for a bit. And now this next scene with Principal Pixie Frog and Miss Horror, we cut back and Adam is still standing there in the river looking at the spot where Rick was. And is like,
Don't worry.
Man, Rick's been under there for a long time, is what he says.
He's coming back. Don't worry, he's coming.
And then only then, we get special returning appearance from David Coppertrout. Oh, hello, boy.
I like how
David
he calls him
Coppertrout is
boy.
back. I also like that he calls him boy.
Hello, boy. What are you waiting for? I'm waiting for this platypus to stop pretending he's drowning. And then, like, David Coppertrout, he's like, oh, that's impossible. No, 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 no. An aquatic animal would never lie about swimming, I guess. That's
It's
the
against
etiquette.
the code.
It's against the code. So
does that
Not
apply
done,
to
boy?
But I mean, does that apply to semi-aquatic mammals?
But doesn't that also mean that like maybe Adam should let him drown because he's actually a fucking space alien and he's here to eat brains? Maybe
But
Adam
Adam
shouldn't.
saves him anyway, and is
Yeah,
about to give him the kiss of life, but is stopped short by Gilbert Gottfried's horror laugh. Horrifying.
Putrid, evil laugh.
Luckily, the pack comes in time in Phineas's little, pod to dispose of him. But they get distracted, they're talking so much, and they accidentally fire a cannon blast at Bolsharkowski.
And he's
He's
like,
ah!
he's
My
like-
particles are being disintegrated!
see him flashing and then it just
staticking.
and then it just stops and he's like, oh, well, get past. Which is
Adam
funny.
is sick of Rick's jokes, but... Sorry, say what you're gonna say.
Oh, I was just gonna say that's a funny joke because.
Adam is done completely with Rick's jokes, but even now, he just can't help but try and, help him out. So he's he grabs Rick and he starts running away. And he runs into Miss Warthog and Principal Pixie Frog, who are trying to take a picture, but they keep leaving the lens cap on. So Adam steals it and flashes the picture in their eyes.
We're blind. We're blind.
Oh.
We're blind. We're blind. We're blind. We're blind.
We're blind.
We're
blind.
blind. He flashes it again at the fucking spiffies.
And then they go, we're blind. We're blind. We're blind. And then Phineas has his own, Mr. Captain Kirk, impression. I'm blind, Mr. Hammy. And, I guess they needed
It's funny
that.
because it's a Shatner impression.
Oh, William.
So Adam takes the platypus Rick down to the basement where the spiffies are usually at. He's like, listen, can't keep causing all this. And he says, quote, Mondo destruction. This is horrible that all this has to end. And Rick's just like, oh, but I love classic comedy. Adam grabs him and starts shaking him. He's like, stop pretending to be an alien because
Nobody likes you.
Yeah, nobody likes you. It's annoying.
Jesus.
It's so funny how he's just
fed up.
Completely is so done with this little man. He's done with this episode.
I'm at the same point. I'm out of Gilbert Gottfried rope to climb on. I'm sorry. Not the best direction to be keep repeating the same lines in the same inflection.
They very much relied on that very early 2000s mentality of if we just keep him talking, then it'll be funny. Because I felt like that's what people did with Gilbert Gottfried in earlier cartoons.
I think he had better direction in the Billy and Mandy Christmas special. That's something I'll say, because he didn't like talk for a lot of it.
Well, yeah, it's because he was infected with vampire disease. He was like chained up in the Santa Claus basement in a tomb.
Rick
But
starts
anyway,
to
this is a Halloween
transform.
episode. He starts to transform before his eyes. Like, all right, I'll stop pretending, and it's a horrifying transformation where his lower half becomes metallic, his eyes like bulge into stalks and then separate. A long tentacle-like tongue comes out of his gaping maw and swirls around the eyes, and Adam is just horrified by this until we get it's kind of funny, like the juxtaposition here, because as I said before, they were provided with like a design for the alien, and all the other like shows tried to like incorporate the alien into their style. And I mean, this alien pretty much looks like in the style, but it's also kind of out of place. Do you see what I mean with it?
Yeah, let's take a look at it.
Here, look, let me post a picture for y'all. It looks very much like they just straight up like got the design document. You know, all right, we'll just draw it. What we got here, and then like put that into Adam's hands.
Yeah, it really does look like that. I didn't quite realize, but now with the screenshot that you're showing me, wow, yeah, it kind of looks like it was placed there.
Yeah, it does. Because I like the design. It's kind of fun and cool, but it looks not like it's not supposed to be there.
Perhaps, Lucy, it seems as if it is not from this world.
Oh man, oh boy, oh man, oh boy.
This is the closest look we get of this design. And Adam like comes running out yelling, "They're here! They're here!" I know, isn't it great? The phone books. No, the aliens are here, and the pack comes in to the rescue with their pod. They're gonna blast open the door, but then they crash into it. So that whole scene, you know,
nothing means anything. It was pointless for them to get that machine.
Nothing means anything because Rick, some tentacles emerge from the door. He's saying like,
"You won't need to open the door because I'll blast it with my alien laser."
But he just opens the door. His like tentacles come out, but it's just him holding like tentacles on a stick, and like he's like,
I brain juice. It's actually a drink. Adam's fucking crazy.
yeah, it's got pomegranate juice.
It's just pomegranate juice. It makes you think good, and Adam Lyon is the one who was, wrong the whole time.
Then he's confused, but everyone else just knows to duck out because there's a mess and chaos left behind, all the metal bits. So Principal Pixie Frog comes in and is like, "Gosh, Adam, I'm ashamed of you." And then we have that talk about how to accept those weirdo freaks, and he just leaves him to clean up the mess. And you think, another like ending, riffing on that there Adam, but then we see
can't catch a break.
We see a saucer with a familiar Rick Platypus silhouette in there, just laughing, tossing out a banana peel, and like I guess that's the end. Adam falls on that banana peel. It's comedy. I'm sorry. I thought this is definitely the weaker. If you're looking at this as a whole oeuvre, the whole like the whole series of chapters, if you're like planning on marathoning it, this is definitely one of the weaker ones of that series.
Yeah, watch the Edda and Eddie one, maybe the Camp Lazlo one. I don't remember if that one was good, but
those were fun.
Lazlo.
Yeah, not like they're just regular episodes of Camp Lazlo, but with those aliens. They're more dedicated to the cheese thing, I guess. Those were the central point. Here, it was just a one-note gag. We got alien talking about brain juice the whole time. kept joking about it. Nothing like really like intense or surprising happened. I mean that transformation, it was a good one. I'll give him that. But
I will say there was like, I actually probably have a more positive opinion on this one than I thought I would. I think it's like fine. I think it's better than the field trip special by miles, because at least that this isn't like as, I don't know. There's something about this one. I guess that and like this one felt like it had at least some funny jokes in it. Like there were moments where I laughed at this one, and I didn't really feel that with the field trip one.
I did lull a bit more with this one.
Yeah, there were some good goofs, and there were some good like funny moments, and like even though I'm trashing it sort of with how just it hammers in that plot line, at least it has like a nice through line and a consistent plot to it, a nice thread that wraps up how you'd expect, but like it's not convoluted like the field trip episode was.
Yeah.
The field trip, I remember the nuts. I remember screaming.
So we give this episode a spooky, horrifying rating of average.
This episode, as I would like to put it, is okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alien from Beyond the Stars. Now let's go beyond the stars of the internet to reach out to some art and comments.
Oh. Well, art! Okay, so let's talk about the art. The art that was sent to us. Was this picture of Adam Line holding a big alien? Shit, that ain't it.
Here. This first one sent in by yet again Pink Cat Ninja, a nice art regular on the show. She says, I'm finally catching back up with My Gym Partner's a Podcast, and I got inspired from an episode when the goof of My Gym Partner's a Universe occurred, and in a startlingly coincidentally themed picture, we've got Jake Spider Monkey, who is the universe, saying, I've ascended, Adam.
I've ascended, Adam.
I don't like how Adam is there. He doesn't have a face. He's just another mortal gazing on the immortal beauty and wide breadth of Jake Spider Monkey, who has ascended to past godhood, to just being reality itself. It's something beautiful. Thank you, Pink Cat Ninja.
Thank you, Pink Cat Ninja. Our next piece of art is from my very own in apartment artist.
Wow.
It's my roommate. He drew something. At Feasel Ballows said, My Gym Partner's a Podcast, snakes. And what he drew here was Slips, but with legs, and Slips' gay cousin, also with legs, which I really enjoy the look of Slips' gay cousin. I think this is a good design, honestly. You did good, my roommate.
It's a really good design for like a cousin for Slips that honestly I would love to see Slips' gay cousin like this. I mean, we have
I'm gonna tell him I appreciate his art right now. Hey, Will! I appreciate the thing you drew for the podcast. You know, the Slips' gay cousin? Yeah, it looks really good. Alright, thank you. I hope the mic picked up some of him, but it probably did.
No, it didn't at all. But
well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Will. And before we get to the comments, I'd just like to mention just a little sneak, little shout out to our good old resident regular guest and just like wonderful animator in general, painter Seap, who's at the time of this episode's release should be releasing a My Gym Partners, a podcast animated little mini thing that was really good. Oh, you know, I don't want to share. I don't want to share too much, but it's appropriate for the season. It's really good.
It's
very
so
talented.
good.
It has a lot of heart put into it. I love it.
And it's got us, so you know, might as well give it a watch. Give it a like and a subscribe and a few bucks to their Patreon, maybe, if you can spare it, if you'd like. Just, you know, at the very least, enjoy the content. It's good stuff. But,
All right, let's talk about some comments here. Our first comment is by Arthur Tempe, I think. Fun fact. If you go on the My Gym Partners a Monkey wiki and look at Henry Armadillo, under enemies, it says everyone, which is depressing yet satisfyingly accurate statement. Really enjoy listening to your podcast and keep it up. That is super depressing.
The enemy of all, Henry Armadillo.
But I mean, it is true. He was like the one like student left standing in that battle of like the nerds and the jocks. He was the only dumb student left. So, you know, he does have reason not only to have a lot of enemies but to also be the enemy of the world.
He has there are very strong reasons for people to hate him, to dislike him being around.
Oh man, you know, it's a good thing where there isn't such a thing as a Henry-centric episode appearing in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 episodes.
Jesus.
Jesus.
Oh, so looking forward to that.
Are you kidding me? We haven't watched those yet? When you said like, I thought you were counting the ones that we watched, and I was like, that's believable.
No. I'm just counting up until the Henry episode.
Oh, I see. I thought you meant there are 7 Henry episodes on the way.
Oh God, can you imagine? No.
I was like, holy shit. I'm not prepared.
All right, one of you want to read the next comment?
Oh yeah, I guess I'll give it a go. Alright, this comment is from Pecan Begone Prawn. Fun fact, oxpeckers actually do a lot more of pecking at wounds and drinking blood than they do eating ticks, and it's pretty unclear whether they actually help remove ticks intentionally or not. Nothing in nature is ever really as clear-cut as it seems. Also, yes, I think that Jake Spider Monkey needs to be nerfed.
Agreed.
Yeah,
he has too
agreed.
many superpowers.
He has too many superpowers. Like,
Well, I agree to both of those points. Jake Spider Monkey has just psychic abilities and is a lot of stuff. Yeah, he needs to be nerfed there, but also I do like that thought. Nothing in nature is ever really as clear cut as it seems. You know, when you have shows like My Gym Partner's a Monkey and stuff, you're led to believe that each animal has like a preset supernatural ability or just
like levitating.
You know,
yeah.
like levitating, like Jake, or they're just like, you know, a part of the ecosystem in some very specific way. But it's just, you know, how like they've gotten into that niche due to like random changes in their DNA, mutations to like have them adapt. They're not exactly like perfectly like synchronized with like their environment around them.
Except
just,
sharks. Those things are pretty synchronized.
No, yeah, they're fucking nature's like perfect beings.
They've been like crafted by like millions of years of just being like shaped by the water. They can smell blood and shit. They're
Oh,
crazy.
blood and shit.
Yeah, they can smell blood and shit. Damn.
They're- But yes, nothing in nature is ever really as clear cut as it seems. And thank you, Pecan Begone Prawn, for that wisdom. And I hope to impart that in some of my animal facts corners where I look up the answers on Wikipedia.
This next comment's by Emo Kitty Videos, and they say, "This podcast is so consistently good, and the effort and quality put into it is mind-blowing. #1 underrated podcast."
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't even know we were even rated. I didn't know there were... I thought we were just kind of like, a voice speaking into the void. No rating at all, just kind of like a frequency that you may pick up. That means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Emo Kitty Videos. Finally, onto our last comment from Liam Bradley. They write, "I finally noticed that you now talk about episode B, then episode A, instead of vice versa, since the morning Zuh. What's with that?" And I'm glad you've asked, because it's funny, because Boomerang seems to just organize these episodes however it wants. Like the Boomerang streaming service, major props to it for allowing
Yeah, we
us
love it.
these
Please stop. Don't ever stop following us, Boomerang, on Twitter.
Yeah,
They still follow
Boomerang-
us.
Boomerang on Twitter, I just want to say that you are a lot more better than just anime dubs.
But that being said, though, I've noticed some episodes are a little out of order. Like, first of all, the A and B episodes are switched, like all of them. They just are. This episode, actually, That Darn Platypus, actually appears later in the chain than it actually first appeared. But I guess it's more like counting like it's like re-released to like not be connected with the CN Invaded, because they kind of did that for like all the like other like CN Invaded episodes. They kind of just dressed it up so that they would just be a regular episode and no one would suspect they were a part of a larger failed marketing ploy to sell craft cheese.
God, well.
It's
Oh boy.
That's so ludicrous to me still. That's amazing. But yeah, we'll try to order them back up again. But, we present the episodes, in this, that are connected with each other by the hip in each episode. So that won't get confused. We can assure you of that.
All right, well, this has been a very creepy and kooky and scoopy and doopy episode of My Gym Partner's a Monkey and the My Gym Partner's a Podcast.
It's been doopy, all right.
It's been so kooky. It's so kooky that I even invited a gorilla on the show.
Oh my gosh. Oh no.
What the fuck? Get that gorilla out of here, Kurt. We're not...
Gorilla, please. We'd love to have you on the show some other time, but we're running low and we're running out of time. The studio spaces. Please don't
get out of here, gorilla.
Yeah, we we already have Windsor Gorilla booked for next week, so please just go take some nuts.
Don't worry, y'all. He's gone. I gave him a little snack.
So what episodes are we going to be listening to? Talking about, excuse me, 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now, we're actually going to be talking about the episodes Lie, Cheetah, Steal, and An Inconvenient Goof. I don't remember what happened in either of those.
That'll be exciting.
I can't offer anything.
Ooh, exciting.
But for now, we hope you've had a very exciting and scary October 23rd. It's not Halloween yet. But
yeah, tell us in the comments what you're doing for Halloween. Like, and if you're dressing up, if you're handing out candy, if you're going to a haunted house, watching a scary movie, sleeping, maybe sleeping.
If you're watching That Darn Platypus over and over and over and over and over again on October 31st, Halloween, that's what I'm going to be doing.
It's really exciting. This Halloween is going to fall on a Thursday. Isn't that exciting?
Anyway.
It's getting so close to the Friday and Saturday Halloweens that we've all been waiting for.
One of these days.
But nonetheless, we hope that your Halloween and your October 23rd are both good days. We hope you stay safe. You enjoy your candy, or like don't enjoy candy. Just stay cooped up. You know, whatever you want to do. Just have a nice Halloween, and don't let Jake Spider Monkey get ya.
Oh no!
Do all your, I do all of your little your whatever Halloween sort of traditions you've created for yourself. Watch over the garden wall. That's a good thing.
Ooh, I gotta
maybe
do
you
that.
want to watch. Yeah, I gotta do that too. Watch Scary Godmother 1 and 2. I mean, do all those things that
Please
make you
please
feel
watch
festive.
Witches Night Out. Search up Witches Night Out. Get the
Yes.
DVD if you want. It's a great little special. That's my shout out to Witches Night Out. Hope you appreciate, and thank you all for listening to our spooky podcast episode.
And as always, I'm Lucy.
Gert? Oh, well, I'm Renee. Oh god, the gorilla got back in!
And I'm Gert. God, get back here, you fucking gorilla!
Bye, everybody.
And this has been my Gym Partners, a podcast. Oh god, get the broom! Oh, get out of here.